Yo. What's going on, people? How's everyone doing? All right, let's get into it. Let's see here. Volume all right? Everyone hear me all right? Everyone see me? We got the green screen going. So I'm the floating head. The floating neck is more like it. Cool. All right. So we're gonna get right into it today, yeah, obviously some alts are popping off, some shit's going crazy. So, let's kind of talk about what's happening, let's see what kind of fucking Ponzi's we can ape into and make hopefully make some money. So let's go into it. First, we're going to just have a real quick shout out to my new sponsor, Bybit. So I'm going to be working with Bybit on all of these streams going forward. I'm really excited about it. Bybit's a great exchange. It's one that I use personally. It's one of the bigger exchanges in the space. So if you are someone like me who enjoys trading Bitcoin perp contracts, futures contracts, as well as other coins, I'm sure you've used Bybit or heard of Bybit, so definitely check them out. I've left some info in the description of this video. They do have a big giveaway going on that I wanted to touch on. So it's called Supercharge Your Futures. It's a big giveaway that they're doing. $250,000 worth of prizes. I'm sure you've seen something about it on Twitter already. It's pretty sweet. I've left some info in the description for it. Basically, all you have to do is start trading on Bybit and start trading their new BTC USD futures contracts to be part of the giveaway. So the more you trade, the more volume you're trading. So multiple trades, size, however you want to get there, the more rewards you'll be entered in to potentially win. And it's going on until April 13th. So big giveaway. Highly suggest you guys check it out. I've left a link in the description of this video with some more information as well as a sign up link. So if you want to join, you want to be part of that competition, have a chance to win a bunch of money in prizes. I think one of the prizes is like reversing the P&L of one of your trades, which is like pretty nuts. So definitely pretty cool. Check that out. Obviously, nothing I discuss in this video for the next while here, or ever, let's be honest, is financial advice. You guys already know that, but I got to mention it anyways. What we do is very risky. Always do your own research. Never risk more than you're, kind of willing to lose. And remember, at the end of the day, I'm just some thick, nude, pervy, stashed Canadian guy yelling at you on YouTube about order blocks. So keep that in mind. Everything that you hear from me and on the internet in general should be taken with a grain of salt, right? So cool. We've got a good amount of people watching here, 160. So let's just get right into it. So gonna cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin right off the rip. I'm gonna try and go through those kind of high speed. And then everyone wants to talk about altcoins. Altcoins have been popping. Is this the start of alt season? We've got ETH back above 2K. So, let's see. Let's go through some charts and let's see if we can find some plays to ape into. I hope everyone obviously is having a blessed and restful Easter. Long weekend for all of y'all. So Jesus is risen. On this day, apparently 2,000 some odd years ago. So let's see if we can raise up some profits from the dead as well. You know what I mean? That was a terrible joke, but I did come off of that with the top of my head. So, you know, give me some love. So let's get this video to 100 likes. That would be sweet, because then I feel like a real YouTuber. At the end of this video, I'm going to be airing my second episode of Explain to Main. So last week I had on the TotemFi team. This week I spoke with Nuno. He's the CSO and founder of UTrust. I had a really great conversation with him. So I'm going to be explaining that video or airing that video at the end of this one. So stay tuned for that. But first, let's get to the charts. So Bitcoin first, then we'll get into ETH, then we'll get into Litecoin, and then whatever shit coins you guys want me to chart. What we're going to do is we're going to go through them. I'm going to make a list of whatever ones we'll do, kind of, you know, 5 or so, and then we'll track it. So my next video, we can do an update, see how we did, see if any of the plays played out, as opposed to just charting it once and completely forgetting about it. So let's go. First off, Bitcoin. I mean, obviously, we had a very nice bullish move off the bottom here. So if you're just looking at your calendar, the last video I did was on the 28th. So we were trading right around here. I was fully expecting another move up on Bitcoin. Basically, what had happened, right, is we had this big run on the lows here, right? Reclaim the low, push back up towards the high. I mean, in reality, volatility for the last kind of handful of days has been relatively low. As much as, everyone is bullish, and I'm bullish too, especially on altcoins right now because shit is popping. Bitcoin hasn't done a ton in the last, week. Essentially, since my last video, I mean, we were at 56K. Now we're at, 59, 58K. We did tag 60K again. But this has been, relatively flat, while we've seen altcoins, Ethereum, right? Obviously Ethereum BTC, lots of altcoins. We'll do another one of my bags that I'm long here. A lot of altcoins have been going crazy, right? So generally, this is a good sign, right, for alts, right? If Bitcoin is flat or, kind of weak, that gives altcoins an opportunity to run, right? And so this is something I talk about in videos all the time. It's the relationship between altcoins and Bitcoin. The majority of these altcoins, all of these altcoins actually, are traded against Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin is weak or flat and the altcoin is strong, generally you'll get bullish price action on the alt BTC pair and bullish price action on the alt USD pair. You can still get bullish price action on both of those pairs when Bitcoin is bullish, but when the alt is bullish and Bitcoin is neutral to bearish, that's when you really see shit go crazy and you start seeing what we're seeing over the last handful of days. You're seeing altcoins go up 5, 10, 20% in a day in consecutive days, right? So this is obviously all good news for us, as volatility is what a trader thrives on, right? Volatility is all we need to make money. So I'm really excited with the state of the market. Even if Bitcoin pulls back, the strength I'm seeing out of FBTC and the strength I'm seeing in some altcoins really makes me think that there's a good chance that a lot of these alts will hold up very well, even during a BTC drop, and are setting up for some larger moves. So super stoked, obviously, but the volatility on Bitcoin itself has been relatively low. So let's just kind of talk about where Bitcoin is at and what I think is going to happen next. So personally, I have a slight bearish bias on Bitcoin. And when I say bearish bias, I don't mean it's going to 40K. I'm talking super short term. Long term, high time frame, I'm bullish. That much is obvious. But in terms of just short-term price action, what I see happening in the next handful of days, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a pullback. Where am I kind of invalidated? I think if we make a new high, I think we go to 70K, right? So when we're trading this close to the previous all-time high, I'm not looking to blindly short this, right? But if we're trading this close to all-time high and we're showing a little bit of weakness, right? This is rounding off here, right? So there's a little bit of weakness here. This is rounding off a little bit. Maybe we get something like this, right, before we go up. I still think we're going to go up, but this close to all-time high, and we're not showing strength through the level. If we're going to 70K, right? So let's just do some math here. Let's assume from here, right now, we're going to 70,000. Why is that so opaque? So let's say we're going to 70K, okay, from the current price. And then let's say I want to wait for us to break through all-time high before I just ape into a long, right? So essentially, the move from here to all-time high is 20%, or from here to 70K is 20%. The move from all-time high to 70K is about 15%. So essentially, you would be capturing 2/3 of the move if you waited for confirmation, right? And I'm not saying that we're not going up from here. Like, that's not the point I'm trying to get at. I'm just saying that I'm okay if the next move, I think, on the macro is a move to 70K. I'm okay missing the first 5% of a 20% move if it means I have more confidence that that move is going to play out and just a better risk reward based setup. Obviously, if I get something in here that gives me a good long setup, I'm going to take it. And if I get something in here that gives me a good short setup, I'm going to take it. But above here, I'm just aping into longs towards 70K. It's as simple as that. So I'm not trying to... I'm macro bullish. I don't need to nail the absolute bottom on a bull move, right? If the bull moves, right, are bigger than the bear moves, right? Bigger bull moves than bear moves. That's the definition of an uptrend, right? So when you have an uptrend, there are pullbacks along the way, right? But the moves up are always bigger than the pullbacks. That makes it an uptrend because you go up more, right? 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. So I'm okay missing a little bit of this move up if it means that I have confidence to step in with big size above here, right? So that's kind of my plan for now is, above all-time high, like reclaim 60K even with what is going on. Reclaim even 60K. It doesn't necessarily even have to be all-time high, but like 60K, as you can see, right? Big round number. We've never, other than the deviation above all-time high, which I believe was on a weekend, right? You can see we've never closed an H4 candle other than right there above 60K. So that could even be your level, right? Break and close above 60K, we're going higher. Right? Simple as that on the H4 or on the H12 or the daily, whatever time frame you want to use, right? But right now we're coming up into this level where we've, deviated above, rejected, and I'm not saying we're going to take out this low, right? But what we could do is reject from here and put in a higher low, right? And then on the next attempt, be the one that breaks through. And then what are we getting here? We're getting an ascending triangle, right? A bullish pattern to break out. Where you're getting rejections from resistance, but each rejection is getting smaller, and then you get the breakout and you get the launch, right? This is the inverse bouncy ball, right? The inverse 6K floor, where each bounce off of 6K got weaker and weaker, and it eventually broke down. This is the exact opposite. Each rejection off of 60K gets weaker and weaker, and then boom, we go. So that's basically the plan for my bullish bias here, right? Is literally something like this, where we get a rejection, maybe something like this, right? And then a breakout, and I'm targeting 70K at a minimum, right? Or I'm actually targeting 69K just for the lulz. So I'm bullish. I think we're going to 70K. It's just a matter of time. But there's no setup where we are right now for me on like the daily to just long it. Whereas this would be a clear setup. This is a long, right? I want to long at the extremities of moves. So if you're a trader SZ fan, right, where you have a range, if you're bullish, right, if the PA leading into this range is bullish, right, where do you want to long this thing, right? So the trend is bullish, we're ranging, you're expecting the trend to break out bullishly. I don't want to long the top of the range. I could long a breakout, right, which is kind of what you're doing here, or you want to long near the bottom of the range, right? You want to long when price is at a discount rather than at a premium. So that's kind of my high time frame bull thesis. I'm expecting something like this to play out. This could be it. This could have been the dip. And then what am I doing? I'm buying on a break and close through 60K. So if we don't dip, I have a plan. If we do dip, that's a tongue twister for you. I have a plan as well, as in terms of buying the fucking dip is the fucking plan, right? Pretty straightforward. So that's the general idea I have going for Bitcoin right now. I'm bullish. I'm expecting it to go up. Once we get through 60K, I think 70K is the next level of interest for me. A break and close through 60K on the H4 or even better, the H12 or the daily. And I'm just looking to long any sort of pullback, right? It doesn't have to be a perfect retest. Any sort of lower time frame pullback, I'm aping in the longs. Simple as that. All right. Is that crystal clear for everyone? What do we got here in the chat? I woke up sleepy-eyed, put a huge long on Kin because Maine said so. Then I sold straight away because I told myself no wake-up apes. And then it's pumping, so I market bought. Okay, I don't remember ever telling anyone to buy Kin, nor does anything I say should be used as a reason to buy, but hopefully it's above your entry there, my man. What's up, Oran from the WWG? How you doing, homie? What's up, Robert? Hello, Mr. Streamer Main. What's up, Hypno Toad? What's up, Dixie Normus? Hey, Ali. Pavel, what's up? Devin, what's up? Main, I'm ripped. Mycelium agenda. Mycelium, is that a type of mushroom? What's up, bro? What's up, Sadiq? What's up, Astro? What's up, Lay? What's up, Mezos? You're watching CBS and then me, back to back. I love it. I want FBC ratio to pump so I can see salty BC maxis on Twitter. Isn't it funny that the bottom, the absolute bottom on FBTC was when we had all the BTC maxis on Clubhouse together? Like, that is ironic as fuck. Kyle says, what up, Necklord Main? What's up, Kyle? Yo-Yo Gideon. What up, Shreddens? Devin, Andre, Billy, we vibing. Yes, sir. First time Ethan chill viewer. What's happening? What's up, Evan? Welcome to the stream. Yeah. All right, cool. Is this Crypto Face? This is not Crypto Face. No scary ghost today. The wind ghost has left us alone. LTC gang. The LTC gang is struggling, boys. We're going to talk about it. Sam coins is where the money should be. Everyone should just invest in Sam coins and forget every other coin ever. Muhammad says, can you explain for a newbie why better not buy in USD and buy BTC pair? So the simplest explanation I can give to you, Muhammad, is first of all, whatever you plan on buying, that's the chart you should focus on. So if you're going to buy Ethereum with Bitcoin, use the FBTC chart. If you're going to buy Ethereum with USD, use the FUSD chart, right? There's not one better situation than the other. My suggestion would be, if you want to buy an alt and you have Bitcoin, only buy that alt if the alt Bitcoin chart is bullish. Otherwise, you're better just holding that Bitcoin, right? So if you look at the LTC BTC chart as a perfect example of pain, for literally ever, since essentially a year ago, 2 years ago, you're better off just holding Bitcoin, because this chart represents Litecoin versus Bitcoin. So if you've been holding Litecoin over the last 2 years, it's underperformed just holding Bitcoin. So don't buy it, right? And then the problem with that is yes, this is in an uptrend, right? But if the LTC BTC chart is bearish, this USD chart, as much as you can make money on it, it's also going to be underperforming the Bitcoin chart. LTC BTC is like here, or LTC USD is like here. You're getting dicked. Essentially, I'm getting dicked. We're all getting dicked. So hopefully that explains it to you. All right. Cool. Let's get into more charts. Let's get this to 100 likes, please, and thank you. That'd be awesome, guys. How's it going, Adam? First stream. I'm doing good, man. I hope you're well. Okay, cool. I'll get back to the chat in a little bit here. So, Bitcoin plan, hopefully that's super straightforward in terms of my kind of long-term plan. Not even long-term. My next swing trade is this, right? That's the next swing trade right there. So now let's look lower time frame. What kind of setups could we see going in early this week? So remember, high time frame context is I'm looking to long a dip to long it towards 70K, or I'm looking to long a breakout above 60K, all right? But in terms of what we have shorter term, now let's say, okay, where could that dip be? Where could that dip go to, right? And where would we obviously look to long that dip? And then how would we look to long that dip? And are there any short opportunities, right? Are there any short opportunities? So let's first look at potential buy the dip scenarios, right? So if you're looking at the daily chart, my one concern here, right, is obviously this. So this is resistance, this is supply, this is a bearish order block, this is whatever the fuck you want to call it that makes you happy and helps you sleep at the end of the night. End of the day, excuse me. You don't want to sleep at the end of the night. That doesn't make any fucking sense. So this was a great hedge area, right? I mean, we came up, we're retesting all-time high. And the one thing that you have to be aware of if you're a bull, right, is that we are kind of rounding off here into this resistance, right? So rounding off into resistance. So again, that's why I like that 60K breakout play, because that's essentially the ascending triangle is right here, right? So we are rounding off a little bit, and within this daily bearish order block, right, we have an SFP that occurred, right? So we ran above this high, and we ran above all these highs. I don't think we got above here. Oh, we did. Okay, so we ran all of the highs, essentially. I know it doesn't look like it, but the high here is 6190. Oh, it's equal highs there. So there you go. That could be a target, I guess. But we did have an SFP on this high here, right? And we've got a lot of wicking showing that price is rejecting from this area, and it's kind of rounding off, right? So this is a stop run, above this high, right? And people long this breakout. And I talked about this on Twitter. I made a post about it. I said I'm placing bids from like 56 down to like 54K or something like that. And low bids on ETH and low bids on this, on LTC, because what we saw here is when we had this move up, right? As soon as we got to 60K, what happened? Premium started skyrocketing. Funding started getting a little bit hectic. So, that was kind of a cause for concern. What does that generally mean? It generally means that we have derivatives traders, people trading with leverage, coming into the market and essentially longing the breakout or longing into resistance with high leverage. And that's why you get these wicks, these kind of moves down, because there's people going 100x like idiots right into resistance, and they're getting chopped up and they're getting blown out. So this is kind of the only cause of concern for the bears, the bulls, I guess you could say, is that we've got a stop run into daily bearish order block, daily supply, and we're kind of rounding off a little bit. You could even argue here, right, that we have, a break in market structure, kind of, right? Like, I guess you could consider, a run of these lows, I guess, a break in market structure. I don't love it, but technically it's true, right? So there's your market structure low right there. That got broke there. So some sort of pullback in here could be a short opportunity, but I'm much more interested in longing a dip than I am, shorting a pullback, right? Or than I am, getting net short or something like that. So where would I long the dip? Right now, we do have a 12-hour SFP happening right here. That's closed. And I tweeted about this last night. I said, if this closes as an SFP, we're right into a bullish 12-hour order block here. Right? Bullish 12-hour order block. We wicked into it. So I said I'd love to long here. We wicked into it. I didn't set any bids here, so I didn't get filled. But now that we have this SFP here, what we can do is zoom in, and we can now look for some sort of bullish setup, right? So I have two that jump out to me right away. One of them's kind of already played out, but you could technically wait for either of these two scenarios to play out, right? So one would be a breakout above this resistance here for a long trigger, right? So we've come in, run the low, nice reaction, closed as an SFP. We're now putting in low time frame bullish market structure. If we're able to flip this, right, that would be a long trigger for me, right? So around 58,600. And then I'd put my stop probably below this consolidation, because if this consolidation causes a move up like this and I long the next pullback, my invalidation is below this consolidation, right? And you're targeting, right? We had those equal highs I talked about, right around here. So that would be my target, right? And that's going to give you a 2R at least. All right, so let's assume we long here. Stop below this consolidation, right? The target would be just over 60K. That's a 2R trade, right? So there's those equal highs right there that we're targeting. So that could be long idea number one. Break above this resistance here, long that shit, and we're good to go. This is a setup I see happen all the fucking time. It plays out over and over and over again on Bitcoin, on all sorts of different time frames. This is essentially a breaker, right? If you think about it, right? So the breaker, you have the low, right? And then you have the low get run, and then this is the breaker, right? So the up candle that caused the down move to run this low. It doesn't look as clean as this every time, but this is the up candle that caused the down move to run the low. When the breaker gets reclaimed, that's your long, right? So that's the long setup. It's essentially a breaker play. All right, the other long idea here is this. We've got 1 hour demand that is formed here. It's pushed us to break market structure, right? Here's essentially your swing high, this one right here. This candle broke that. We made a new high. We're now looking for a higher low. I'm about to sneeze, or am I? It's gone away. Would be some sort of sweep of these lows, right? Some sort of sweep of these lows. Reclaim, boom, right? That would be your other long. And so this would essentially also be a breaker play, right? If we see a break below these lows, right? So let's just kind of project it ourselves. Let's assume that the next couple candles are red candles. This would be the up move that caused a down move to take out these lows. Once that breaker gets reclaimed, that's your long. And it's the exact same setup that you're seeing right here, but just on a kind of smaller scale and closer to the active price, right? So if we see some sort of run below this consolidation, right, and then a reclaim of the up candle, right, of the origin of the move that ran the low, that would be a long. Your trigger would go, your stop, excuse me, would go below the move down, right, the stop run. That would be another long opportunity. So those are two situations that I'm watching on the lower time frame. Like if you didn't long this, right, those would be two situations that I'm watching to potentially get long on Bitcoin. So a flip of this, which would be confirmation of this being a breaker, right? Stop down here, target 60K, or a rejection here, right? Run below these lows, and then this becomes the breaker, right? And the stop goes down here. So those are two long opportunities on the low time frame. This is the hourly chart. These could be considered like day trades to get into to ride towards 60K. So hopefully that's super, super clear, because that stop entry target, that's exactly how I would get in, right? A break and close through here and a pullback, or a run of this consolidation low, right? And then a reclaim with my stop like that. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on Bitcoin right now. Hopefully that is super clear. All right, so let me know in the chat if that makes sense for the low time frame long, right? The high time frame long, super simple, right? We reclaim 60K. I'm just aping in. But for those of you that want a day trade, that want to get into something short term, you maybe want a long lower, this is how I'm kind of seeing price action on the low time frame, right? Something like that. Now, there is one short setup that I would be eyeing, and it would be right like this. So we have a swing failure pattern here, right? So we have a swing failure pattern here. So if we get some sort of rejection within this kind of bearish demand here, right? This is a bear order block, right? Essentially, and we see some sort of SFP in here, right? So the long situation is based on a run of this low, right? Or a reclaim of this, okay? What is the bearish scenario, right? What is the bearish scenario? Well, the bearish scenario would be some sort of swing failure pattern or kind of rejection above one of these highs, right? And it could go as high as here, right? We could see it all the way up here happen, right? But that would be a reason for me to enter a short, and this would be a low time frame short. I'm not shorting this to 40K or anything crazy, but there could be a short opportunity, right, where we run one of these highs and then we dump deeper into demand, right? So that demand that I had mentioned that I'm interested in longing, right? This is a big zone, right? So we've just wicked into it. We could come deeper. We could come down to 55K. We could come and run this low before really going, right? Like a great long would be this, right? Gonna zoom in a little bit. An awesome long, right, would be something like this. Run this low, right? That would be a long that you could take. But for now, if we're going down into here, that means there could be a short on the way down. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not saying I'm shorting it down to here. It would just be to a move deeper into this demand, okay? So that would be the only reason I would short, is if I see some sort of run on one of these highs and weakness. So what does that mean? The difference between longing this breakout and shorting it is the way the candle forms, right? If we close a big green candle through here, right, that is not a stop run, and I'm looking to long the pullback. If we come up here, right, and then close back down below it, putting in a wick, a swing failure pattern, that shows weakness. Now I'm looking to get short, right, and target this low, right? So if any of these highs get run, this high, or this high, and we close as like an SFP, something that shows rejection, that shows weakness, that shows that that was just a stop run, that is an instance, that is a situation where I might look to scalp a short down below this low. Okay, so if it comes up here, right, I'm shorting from here down to here. All right, that's the only instance I would look for a short, is if there's some sort of run on a high and then weakness that shows rejection, and then I'm gonna get short. Otherwise, main plan is to look for longs, and I just gave you 2 low time frame setups, right? Run these lows, flip this area, boom, right? Or the daily setup, right, which is the flipping of 60K, right? Run 60K. Or this, right, which would be in line with kind of the ascending triangle idea I had, right? So I showed you that ascending triangle where we're going into 60K as an ascending triangle, right? Well, where would the next higher low be, right? If we're going to reject from here, right? Maybe we get a run of this low into the trend line, right? And then a move back up. So that would be kind of the scenarios for the long side. So much more interested in the longs than the shorts, but I want to present both sides of the argument, right? At the end of the day, we're traders, so we can trade in either direction. And if there's something that shows weakness in here, right, I'm willing to short it, right? It's at the end of the day, I own spot. I don't care if I lose on a short. It is what it is. So if there's something obvious, I'll talk about it and I'll post it for you guys. But yeah, that's the plan for Bitcoin. Hopefully that's super, super clear. So let's get into Ethereum next. So Ethereum obviously, made a new all-time high. The only kind of bearish situation really that I see for Ethereum is if it were to go back below this previous all-time high, right? So if we were to run this, all-time high and then start trading back below, I mean, you can call it 2K, right? 232. I would even call it like 2K even. Let's see if I can just draw 2K on here. right? You don't want us to, and you can see, obviously, dump, retest, respected. Let's not get back below 2K, right? If we trade back below 2K, I'm looking to long Ethereum lower. I'm probably looking to long it like here, right? In this area. I don't know if that's going to happen, right? But if we get some sort of high time frame closure below 2K, I think we could have a decent pullback on Ethereum, right? You pull out your fib, lines up at the sweet spot, blah, blah, blah. You zoom in, you're going to have a bunch of untapped lows, right? So what do you have here, right? You have a low, another low, another low, right? So you have a bunch of lows that could get run here, right? Liquidating a bunch of people before the real move. So that's just something to watch, right? So let's not trade below 2K, okay? Make a deal, shake hands, let's not trade below 2K, and we should go higher, right? And this is going to be bullish for altcoins, right? If assuming Ethereum can stay strong. So if you zoom in and you look at the H4, right? We've broken above that previous all-time high. We've put in a high, we've put in a low, we've retested 2K. And to me, we've got a super clear level here, right? That's capping price right now. I think if we reclaim this, you just long it, right? Very similar to kind of Bitcoin. I think if we can reclaim this area here, you just long Ethereum if you're not long already, right? So again, similar to what I was saying earlier, if we're forming a range here, right? Let's say we're forming a range here. Let's assume this is our range, right? I don't want to long it, you know, like up here, ideally. I either want to long some sort of confirmed breakout, right? So above a key SR level, right? The reason I like that order block there is you have the order block right here that's capping price, and you have the mid-range, right? So if we're able to reclaim this resistance at the mid-range, to me, that's bullish. We've now flipped the mid-range into support, and we've reclaimed, you know, the order block. That's bullish. Obviously, a breakout is bullish as well. Otherwise, I want to long closer to the range low if possible, right? Some sort of deviation below the range low would give me a good long opportunity, right? Into here. Maybe we run that low, maybe we don't, I don't know, right? But I ideally, if I'm trading a range, I want to long some sort of, you know, if I'm bullish, right? Preceding trend is bullish, and I'm expecting an eventual move out of the range. I either want to long in the lower part of the range, right, on some sort of range low deviation, or just some sort of, you know, a reclaim, whatever it may be, or I want to long some sort of breakout, whether that's of the range high, or I would consider this a breakout, because we'd be reclaiming an order block, we've reclaimed the mid-range, and we'd be making a higher high, right? So those things would give me the confidence to long Ethereum there. So that's kind of what I see on Ethereum right now, right? So want to stay above 2K, or else I wouldn't be surprised if we run some of these lows here. Ideally, we stay above 2K. We flip this order block here, which is right in line with that EQ of that range I just drawn. That would be a long opportunity for me. So this is kind of like a breakout long. If we're looking for a lower time frame setup, right, I would draw that range again. And I'd say, okay, where is the, you know, most likely area for us to long on a pullback? Is going to be a retracement of this move and perhaps a run of the range low, right? So if you pull your regular fib here, right, your golden pocket puts you right in there. Demand, right? So there's the down candles before the up move, and there's a swing low here too that you could say this could be kind of our thesis for the long, right, is something like this, right? Something like that, or it goes lower, right? Or it goes lower, but if it runs this, and again, shows absorption in the form of an SFP, right? Reclaim the range low, that's another long opportunity. So no trade for me on Ethereum as it stands right now, waiting for price to give me a setup. And so it's like, trading is a game of if this, then that, right? And I talk about this a lot. If this happens, I'm going to do this. If that happens, I'm going to do this. And that's all I'm mapping out for you guys here is if this, then that statements, right? Because it's not, oh, could go up or down, right? Like people who like respond with could go up or down, like those people are idiots. They don't understand trading at all. It could go up or down. That's the whole fucking point. I'm mapping out scenarios that I'm going to be watching. I'll have alerts set. I'm obviously on screen all the fucking time. We're in a bull market. Who sleeps anyways? Where if price does what I think it's going to do or what I want it to do at a key level of interest, I now have a plan on how am I going to get into the trade and where's my risk going to go, right? So if we run this low, right, and then reclaim it, the SFP that runs the low, that's my risk, right? If we run the range low, right, and then reclaim this, right, my risk is the deviation below the range low, right? And then target here and target here, right? That's a 2 to 1 R at least. If we flip the order block, right, and close above here, my stop is the low that generated the move above the order block. That's where my risk goes. And then you enter, right? You target wherever. So you need to have a plan first, and you can have multiple plans. It doesn't need to be like, I'm only longing if this happens, but you also don't want to have 100 fucking plans. You want to have a plan where it's like, okay, if this happens, I'm going to do this, or if this happens, I'm going to do this. And then you need to wait, right? That's the part that's really difficult for some people. Is I want a long Ethereum, let's say. I think Ethereum's going to 2,500 in the next week. I want to get in a long. Well, if you don't have a long setup where you are right now, what if you long now, right? And then it comes and does this, right? And then you close your long because you think it's going to dump and then it goes up. You're going to be fucking pissed. And that's because you had no idea why you were longing here. You had no thesis. You don't know where you're wrong. And then you're capitulating on the pullback that ended up being the better long entry, right? Like maybe you put your stop here, right? Because you're like, okay, it's going to go up from here. And that stop ends up being the best entry, right? So if you have a plan and then patience, you know what you're looking for and you know what you're going to do when price does it. And then you're chilling, right? Otherwise, you're going to end up, and I've been doing this for years, guys, and like this shit happens to me all the fucking time. Not as much anymore, but it used to happen a ton, where I'm like, okay, Ethereum's going to 2,500. Everyone on Twitter is bullish on Ethereum. We're going to 2,500. There are no pullbacks. We're going straight up. So I'm just going to long now, and then it pulls back, pulls back, pulls back, pulls back. I capitulate, I close, I'm fucking frustrated, and then I go to sleep and I wake up the next day and it's, you know, trading at above my original entry, right? But I wasn't ready to deal with this because I had no plan, right? So have a plan, know exactly what you're looking for, and then wait, right? Wait for price to fucking show you what it's gonna do, and then you execute, right? So there's 1,000 ways you can draw squiggles. All you need is at least one. I mean, I usually have 1 or 2 ideas for what I'm looking for, and then I wait, right? Because right now, to me, we're into resistance. So there's no long setup for me here. If you want a long Ethereum, no stop, because you know we're going to 2,500, by all means, go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want. I'm trying to take trades that have well-defined risk that I can plan in advance, and then I just fucking execute, right? But the waiting, that in between, like making the plan and letting price get there, that's the hardest part. And depending on what time frames you're trading, it can take longer, right? This setup where it pulls back here, right? This could not play out for 2 or 3 days, and you're just sitting on your hands, and everyone else is like, oh, Ethereum, like, can you wait? This breakout might happen tonight. It might happen tomorrow. It might happen 3 days from now. So you got to have a plan. I've told you mine, and then you got to learn to be patient. And sometimes shit is going to happen, right? That's the beauty of these markets. There's a shit ton of other markets going on, right? So if there's no long setup on Ethereum, don't force it. Check another coin. Maybe there's a long setup ready to go there, and just have alerts set on Ethereum and practice patience. So that's one of the That's one of the hardest parts of trading, right? Is that waiting game. I think SZ has a really funny post about it where it's like, you know, here's your plan, here's your trigger, and then the space in between is the waiting game, and that's where most people fuck up. And trust me, I'm guilty of it. As important as anything in trading is timing, right? Timing is super key. All right, Ethereum done and dusted. We got 100 likes. Let's fucking go. Put a W in the chat for the boys. See if I can get caught up on the chat here a little bit. Okay. Dixie Enormous thinks Asia's going to dump. Please, wealthy Chinaman, do not dump on us. People are just shilling their altcoins. BNB Moon Mission. We'll definitely look at BNB. Ali says 70K means delayed alt season, bro. I mean, yeah, right? If Bitcoin is strong, right, alts are not going to have alt season, right? Like I said at the start of the video, Bitcoin being flat / weak, that's when you're going to have, you know, altcoins really outpace Bitcoin. So, you know, ideally for altcoins is Bitcoin goes sideways / down, right? That's the ideal situation for altcoins. Now, you can see that happening. There were several altcoins that when Bitcoin dumped from, you know, 60K down to 56K, right? Like a pretty decent dump, $3,000 or $4,000 dump. There were some altcoins that barely moved. Some of them actually went up, right? So that's a good sign for alts. It's crazy that we're even at 60K. I completely agree with you, Dave. It is absolutely bonkers that we're even at 60K. Yeah, even 50K, right? Being like, oh, we might never go to, I mean, we're not going to never go to 50K again, but the fact that we might not see 50K for a long time or 40K is crazy. Because I remember being in Vegas and using a Bitcoin ATM when Bitcoin was trading at like 5K and taking out like 4 Bitcoins from this Bitcoin ATM, which already charges you like horrendous fees. And then I just like went and gambled and spent it all on booze and partying and blackjack. And that 4 Bitcoins is worth like $200,000 now. And let me tell you, I didn't win any money playing blackjack. Inverse head and shoulders there, no. I don't know what you're referring to, but I'm sure there might have been, yeah. I don't really use patterns. Bull market equals buy dips until further notice. Absolutely, 100% agree, right? Long until you're wrong. Until the trend changes majorly, long until you're wrong. I'm a trader main simp. That's nice. Are you a hot girl? If it dips and you long, where do you get out? Before 62K and then buy a retest? I mean, that's up to you, Andre, right? Like, if you think this is resistance, right? If you think we're in a resistance here, right, we long a dip, right, you could hedge here again. But to me, this 60K level, right, we had 1 tap, 2 tap, right? The kind of idea that I'm playing on, right, is, you know, 3 taps and it's going to break, right? So we have our resistance, right? So we've had our test 1, we've had test 2. You know, so let's say it dips here, right? The third test, it may dip a little, so you could hedge there. But I think if you get a long between like 52 to 55K, I think you hold that for till 70. I don't think you hedge or you close early, right? Because the problem is, let's assume that, you know, here's close enough to 60K. You know, let's assume that my idea is right? So let's assume that this is what happens. We do this, right? And then we come up here. And then we do another little, and then boom, and we go to 70, right? If you get a long down here, right, closing some and hoping to relong this properly, why, right? I mean, at least for me, sure, take some off the table, pay yourself a little bit above here, right? You can manage the trade however you want. But if I get a long down here, I'm holding that to 70K. That's just what I'm going to do because I've already nailed the move. Why am I trying to now, you know, nail this top and then relong the low again for a little bit of, you know, a pullback to slightly get a better entry? It's not worth it to me. If I get a long down here, I'm just holding it. All right. Super clear. All right, good. It's fucked because I know all this, but I can't help my DJing ways. Yeah, man. I mean, it's tough, right? Managing, I tell this to people all the time, right? Learning how to draw lines on a chart and do the TA and all that shit, that is not the hard part. The hard part of trading, right, is the mental side of it, the patience, the, sitting underwater in a trade, going through losing streaks, not getting too euphoric when you're winning, right? Not revenge trading, the emotions that you go through as price fluctuates and oscillates, that is hard, right? Actually executing on a long when, this looks awful, but you know that you want a long here, right? Or like this looks like shit, you think we're going to zero and having the balls to step in. That's the hard part. The hard part is not drawing the lines on the chart. That part can be learned relatively quickly. It's execution, it's the mental game, it's the psychology. That is the hard shit, right? It's being robotic, being repetitive in your system. That is the hard shit. Sure, I will check Neo, bro. Okay. BTT, I'll take a look at too. Whenever I try to buy the breakout strat, it ends up being a fake out. How do you deal with that? So listen, let's say we come up, break out above here, right? And then do this. Well, you get stopped out on a long. That happens. You have a couple options. You could short, right? If we fake out, you could now say, okay, well, this is a stop run, right? If it's a fake out of the level, it was a stop run. You could short it, right? Or you get stopped, man. Like, it happens. Like, you get stopped sometimes, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it. I had a chart like a week and a half ago or whatever where I said F is approaching a level where if it clears it, I'm gonna long the shit out of it, and it was like here or something like that. And someone's like, oh, it's gonna break out and leave you in the dust. It always gives you the entry, right? Like, it gave me the entry. It broke the level and it came back and retested, or you're buying in here. But yeah, there's going to be situations where you're like, I'm looking to long this SR flip, right? And it does this, right? And then it sells off. I mean, you're going to get stopped out sometimes. That's just the nature of the beast. Like, I'm sure it's not happening every time you do it, right? But there are instances where, breakouts occur and you get stopped and you just got to live with it. Another solution, right, is this. So let's say you're worried that this might be a fake out, right? It does this. Wait for it to then break this high, right? So if it breaks out, retest, you don't long here. But if it makes another higher high after that, the probability of that being a fake out is greatly reduced. And now you're buying here. So yes, you're missing that initial optimal entry, but you're getting in on confirmation. You now know that it's not a fake out. So just wait for more price action, right? Ideally, it does this, right? But if it does this, wait for this to happen. Now you know, okay, we've taken out the level, we've closed above it, we've retested it as support, and we've confirmed bullish market structure. That's going to be a super high probability play. And yes, you miss out on this part of the move. That's totally okay. So that could be one solution for you. I think CME gap buyers will get wrecked early this week. I don't know where the CME gap is. Good day, Lars. How you doing, man? It's the network of mushrooms. There you go. I knew that sounded familiar. The 03 breakdown party was a bomb signal of a lifetime. Absolutely, man. I completely agree. Cash Yap, what's up, man? I'm doing well. How are you? What's up, Danny? Happy Easter, Sven. What's up, Ashwin? Did I dump my LTC bag? Never. I'm riding that thing to zero if I have to. But I don't think it's going to zero. It's just been a very poor allocation of capital for me, right? Like, because I'm up. My average entry on LTC is at like 170, right? I've bought all over and bought and sold, but my spot bag is well below 200. The problem is there's opportunity cost. There's coins that have doubled in price. Not saying I would have caught all of it, and I'm sitting in a coin that's barely moved. You know what I mean? So opportunity cost is a real thing. And like I said, timing is a super key part of trading. You may be right on the idea. Like if LTC goes to 500, I'm going to be right, but should I brag? I will, because it's Twitter. But if I'm sitting in LTC for 3 months and it does nothing, and then it 2x's, well, how much shit 2x'd in that same 3-month span that I could have had a piece of, but all my capital was locked up in LTC, right? So you got to know opportunity cost is part of trading, right? What's up, Daniel? Salute to you. Thought you called me a slut for a second. I was like, how do you know? What's up, Kevin from Netherlands? How you doing? Appreciate you staying up late. LTC is a stable coin of $200. So, you know, Charlie Lee's given up on LTC. Maybe I'll take over as the dev and I'll just peg it to $200 and it will just be the stable coin of the future. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Alien Fungi? We got a lot of mushroom people in here. Hey, Adam, first stream. I'm doing good. Welcome. Frank Castle says, my wife is sitting at 243 pounds today. If my projections are correct, she'll reach 300 pounds by the end of 2021. What's your opinion on her Fibonacci retracement? You know, I would say you need to put in a stop loss on that weight, right? Because you want to be shorting her weight, right? You want to be short her weight down to a more reasonable size. So I would put a stop loss, you know, at about, I'd put a stop loss at about fucking 260. And if she goes above there, you need to cut that trade, my friend. There's always another trade. There's always another trade. Don't get married to your position, unless it's Litecoin. I'm long, super heavy LTC. What do you think, man? I'm going to cover LTC next. Yo, Sundial, how's it going from the UK? Good day, Govna. How you doing, Govna? That was terrible. I'm sorry. Giraffe Mane killed me. Yeah, that was a pretty funny picture. LTC pump in the next month for sure. I fucking hope so, because that's generally how it goes. It does nothing, and then it just 2x's in a matter of, you know, weeks, but doesn't change the fact that I've been shilling it and holding it for 2 months, and it's barely moved. In what scenario where it dips and you long, where do you get out? I think I answered that already. Also getting dicked. LTC dick feels bad. It does feel bad, man. I'm with you. ER needs the trap routine. All you gotta do is buy thousands of Litecoins and just hold them like this and just do shoulder shrugs. That's all it is. What about ADA? Sure, I'll cover Cardano. TRX is rippy. I'm making an absolute fortune on TRX right now, so shout out to that. I will chart that. This guy is just spamming in here. Fuck you. What's up? First Eth and Chill. I really enjoy your Twitter feed. ICOs are insane right now. Many projects making 20 to 100x. Do you think the trend will continue? You know, with any crypto bull market comes new projects, comes new coins. You just want to not be holding the bag when the music stops, right? So as long as the market remains bullish, I think we're going to see continued bullishness on projects, on coins. And I don't think that's stopping yet. I think there's still more time left in this cycle, so I do think it will continue. But yeah, you don't obviously, you know, be careful. Don't get caught holding some bullshit. But as long as the market overall remains bullish, I don't think that would stop. All right, let's get back to the charts here. Danny Les says, Nuno now or we riot. I got to get through a few more coins, guys, and then we'll get to my interview with Nuno. Okay, so we've got FBTC here, right? So I put this on Twitter, right? Basically saying, okay, I think this is where we bottom. And it ended up working out perfectly. So I had this little projection doohickey on here. I'm just going to delete this temporarily because I need to keep that so I can obviously repost for clout later. But I had posted this on Twitter basically saying I think we bottom here, right? And I've been super consistent about my bullishness for ETH. You can go on Twitter. You can find a bunch of people who've been flip-flopping about ETH, being like it's bullish, it's bearish, it's a shit coin. For the most part, I think people are just zoomed in and they're day trading. And so when it goes sideways, they're getting just destroyed, right? When in reality, I've been super consistent about ETH being bullish since August, right? Since I started doing these streams, I've been talking about ETH being bullish and how I think it is going to eventually trade up to here, right? This is kind of the level I've been watching for ages. And I've been charting it on the high time frame. And what does that mean? It means it takes fucking time for shit to play out, right? So I've been consistent as fuck with this. You go watch my old Ethereum and chill streams. We nailed this low and we nailed this low, right? And we've been consistent about this being an uptrend with the eventual target from here. It's all in those streams, all in those videos. You go watch that shit. I've been super consistent. Have I gotten chopped up longing the USD pair? Of course, right? But I've made money on ETH spot massively because I've been investing in it for over a year now, because I believe that this is in an uptrend and this is going to start outperforming Bitcoin soon. It's been outperforming Bitcoin in certain months, right? But I'm expecting continuation of this trend where there's periods of time where ETH appreciates versus Bitcoin, right? So as much as like, oh, fuck ETH, Bitcoin's better, it's like, yeah, that makes sense, but it's here, right? But it's still making higher lows all along the fucking way. And so we nailed this low, and then we nailed this one too. Absolutely fucking cranked it out. And it's super simple. 3-day demand, right? So that's these 2 down candles. I guess you could call it 6-day demand, right? This swing, all I did was take the low to the high. We've got our sweet spot here, all right? And then 3-day demand, confluent with the sweet spot, price came right into it. It chopped around. People started freaking out, wondering if ETH is ever gonna, oh, the gas, oh, the fucking bullshit. Fuck that. Just look at the chart, right? If you're a trader like me, all I really care about is the chart. So came right into our 3-day demand, came right into the sweet spot. And as you can see, within this area, we had a beautiful SFP, high time frame SFP into demand, into the sweet spot. And at this fucking wick, you've got Peter McCormick and Udi and a bunch of other Bitcoin maxis, Jimmy Song or whatever that cowboy hat guy is, all doing like a party on Clubhouse about how we broke down below 03. And we've literally just put in like a 30% move since then. You can't write this stuff. It's incredible, right? 20% move since then. It's fucking awesome. So I'm very happy with how ETH is performing. It's doing exactly what I thought it was going to do. When price does exactly what you think it's going to do, it's awesome. And when it's not doing exactly what you think it's going to do, get the fuck out of the trade. So this is exactly where I expected it to bounce from. And yeah, it fucking gave a little bit of a bounce here, then it sold back off. But once we had this SFP, I was pretty confident that we were going to go up. And I posted that chart about 2.5 weeks ago, right here. I posted the chart with that fucking projection thing. So this looks great to me. I'm still bullish on this pair. We are coming into resistance here. So I have this 1-day bearish order block here. You can see I posted this on Twitter as well. We got a little bit of a rejection. Once we start trading above here, we are going to put in an explosive candle to this high, in my opinion. I think we could chop around here. We could pull back a little bit. I don't really care. I'm not interested in shorting this pair. I'm not interested in longing the dip. I just know that because I own a shitload of ETH as well, and I'll be looking to long ETH-USD more. So hopefully one of those long setups I discussed on ETH-USD plays out in confluent with this breaking out. As soon as we break out of this level here, I'm expecting a very fast move up to here. And that could happen this month. Like I'm talking a move like this, right? Where maybe we chop up a bit here, but then we get like a big 20% move to the upside in a few days. So very bullish on FBTC. We are coming into resistance, so be aware. But as soon as we flip that, I'm expecting us to go here rather quickly. What is the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario I see is we run. I don't know if we will because we had that SFP right here. But worst case scenario I see is a Bitcoin moves to like 70K plus, has like an explosive move, right? Because 70K from here would be about 20%. The only instance I see this flipping bearish, and I think it would be temporary, is if Bitcoin has an explosive move to the upside, we could pull back and retest this gray or run this low. Okay, but to me, this low is in. I don't think we go lower than here. And I think any sort of action that happens like this just ends up being a big higher low here. So this is a big higher low to me. If Bitcoin rips, we could see this pull back and run these lows before continuing up. If Bitcoin shows weakness and goes sideways, I'm expecting this to go up and then move up explosively. So you want alt season, Bitcoin sideways and down, BTC flipping this level, we're going to have some crazy moves on alts. If Bitcoin rips to 75K, that's the only instance where I really see this pulling back and potentially running some lows before continuing to the upside, right? So I'm still super bullish on this. I've remained bullish. And again, right, if you zoom out to the weekly, even if we run this low, right, like if the next weekly candle is this and we run this low, right, like this is still just a higher low, right, relative to here, right? So it could look exactly like this, right, where we have this big bounce, pull back, and then go, right? That's exactly like this, right, where it's like, okay, the higher low is here, but in the month you had to move up, a pull back, and then the move, right? So that's the exact kind of thing we could see here, right? And this would be Bitcoin going like really high or maybe selling off super fucking hard. But if Bitcoin like explodes to 70K, I could see this happening, right? But yeah, I'm fucking bullish on FBTC. It's bounced exactly where I wanted it to, and I am expecting it to go here in 69 days approximately. All right, LTC, the worst fucking coin in the world. Again, like still hasn't even broken its all-time high. This is what suicidal tendencies looks like in a chart. I mean, if you want to compare, right, these two, right, like I want this to look like this, right? That's the thesis of the investment. And I do think it will eventually do this. But the bottom line is I've been long LTC for like over 2 months now, like really long. I've been longing and shorting, but I really loaded up on spot over the last 2 months, expecting this kind of a breakout move, and it just hasn't happened. And so my capital, some of it, has been tied up in LTC, and it could have been used better elsewhere. I'm not losing money, but it is what it fucking is. So, you know, I definitely want to see LTC catch up to ETH and to BTC in terms of the market cycle, right? But we're not there yet. You know, just looking at this thing, high time frame, I took a long from like here to here, and it's just never gotten through this. It's just starting to get through this area now, right, on the monthly. So this is a new monthly candle, but we've, you know, came up in there, we wicked, came up there, big wick, came up here, closed below. We're just starting to trade above this monthly order block now, right? And that's really the resistance that I'm watching, as well as this weekly level. And this is where I TP'd my longs from here into this weekly level. And as you can see, resistance and cap the price right there. So as soon as LTC, you know, grows a pair and decides that it wants to break out, this is your breakout level, is 225. Once we get above 225, this thing is absolutely going to fly. I'm confident of that. But it's just taking its fucking time, and it is what it is, right? So I'm being patient. I still think it's going to go up, but have I played this extremely well from a timing perspective? The answer is no. But we came in, we made the high, and then we've retested weekly demand, and I think we're going to go up. It's just that a lot of coins look like this, and LTC is just doing this, right? So eventually this is going to break out. It could be 2 years from now. I don't know, but I'll still have a bag when it does. So I'm still long. For everyone who asks me on every tweet I post, I'm still holding my entire fucking stack. I have like almost 4,000 LTC. All right. So I want this to go up more than fucking Charlie Lee himself. So still bullish on LTC on the high time frame. Looking at, you know, kind of the lower time frame action. What do we have going on here? This is just a big fucking triangle, right? So, you know, we've got 3 taps of this area, and we've got your kind of triangle bottom here. So this is just a triangle. Once this fucking breaks out to the upside, I do believe it will be explosive. So I'm still bullish on LTC. I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't even want to like look at this chart until it fucking makes me some fucking money. But I basically bought LTC all the way through here, right? some here, right? But all the way through here, and now it's literally just been consolidating ever since I bought it. So it's not bearish, right? This is gonna break up. I'm fucking very sure of it. I could be wrong, obviously, but I'm pretty sure this breaks out. But it could come down here first, right? And then go. But once this consolidation resolves itself, I'm going to be a happy camper. So looking at it kind of on the lower time frame in terms of like, what do I think is happening in the kind of immediate term for LTC? We've come in, we've broken that level back below, and we're back underneath it. So I would probably just wait for us to kind of clear like this if you're going to long it. I think you want to long above about 211 here. Actually, I think I have a better no, I like that. You want to long above there, right? That's on the daily, right? A breakout of there, or right, if we get some sort of move lower, you could potentially long, maybe we get a long down here again. So this is where I have stink bids. If we are to get some sort of shakeout on Bitcoin, run this low, right? This would be a long setup. Otherwise, I'm kind of looking along, I'm not even looking along because I'm already fucking so long, it's ridiculous. But, or just wait for the breakout, right? We've come in, we've retested this 12-hour demand. I want to see a move up. But what I see on LTC, I think, is just a big-ass triangle that is eventually going to break, right? Once this thing breaks out to the upside, ideally, right, I think this is going to look really fucking good. And I'm going to post on Twitter, and I'm going to brag, and I'm going to act as if I longed it perfectly and I haven't just fucking held it for forever. So, anyways, let's look at LTC BTC real quick. And then I'm going to check out some alt requests, and then I'm going to play my interview with Nuno. Okay, so we're going to try and bang it out here real quick. So the reason LTC BTC is just consolidating for what seems like forever, or LTC USD is consolidating for what seems like forever, is because this chart is just grinding down, down, down into this monthly demand, right? So I've got this monthly demand here. Right? We're pushing down, and what I think is going to happen with LTC is something like this. Grind it down, push it down, people think it's fucking dead, and then it's just going to put in a couple of rippers in like consecutive weeks or months, and then the USD pair will fly. That's kind of my thesis for the long, and we're pushing down, down, down. Bitcoin is just, the volatility is extremely low on this chart for the last couple of months, right? So like, the last couple of months, the last year, the volatility's been, almost non-existent. Similar to here, right? Just grind it down, 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 and then boom. So that's really what I'm hoping for on this, is just a big fat breakout candle, which I do think is going to happen. I think what we're looking at here is what's going to happen here. That's kind of my idea here. So until this breaks out, LTC USD is going to continue to underperform Bitcoin. Why is Ethereum BTC look good? It's because, or Ethereum USD look good? It's because Ethereum BTC looks good. This is in an uptrend versus Bitcoin. So this thing has gone up more than Bitcoin since the COVID bottom, right? This is in a downtrend versus Bitcoin and has been kind of consolidating and grinding for months. That's why this is not broken out yet to the upside. So once that happens, I am expecting movement. But yeah, timing-wise, I've played this one terribly. All right. So I'm going to go through the chat here real quick. I'm going to cover a couple coins, and then I will air the UTK interview. All right. All right. So let's do... we'll do EOS. We'll do TRX. We'll do BTT. We'll do, holy shit, BTT. Oh my God. What the fuck? This thing went crazy. That is nuts. 45% today. That is crazy. TRX 23% today. This shit is all fucking mooning. Let's look at we'll look at sushi because it's DeFi, right? DeFi getting stomped by traditionals right now. We'll look at Neo, and then I'll do one more. Let's see here. Sure, let's look at SRM. And let's look at Sol as well. I like Sol. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at all these coins. How is everyone not making an absolute killing right now? Oh my God, BTT, this is crazy. All right, so I'm gonna look at these coins here. We'll drop some plans in terms of what I think is gonna happen. And then I'm gonna play the UTK interview, and I'll cover UTK, obviously the coin as well, because I am gonna be talking about it, and this is moving right off of my SR anyways. Okay, so I'm gonna cover these hyperspeed, and then I'm going to play the interview. All right, guys, and then I'll kind of read up on the chat while I'm doing that. All right. So let's look at EOS. Right, EOS is another shit coin that I invested in, and it just took forever to break out. So you can see EOS breaking out, making a nice move, right? So this is your entirety of your Bitcoin bull run that we're in. Bitcoin has gone from 3K, right, to 60K from here to here. Okay, so as much as EOS is breaking out right now, you know, if you're sitting in this coin for any of this time, you are fucking up majorly. And the reason is EOS BTC, right, looks like this. It looks like absolute dog shit, and it's just now putting in a green candle, right? Oh, what was that? I had a level there, obviously. So who knows, but we're starting to see a little bit, just a pinch of bullishness on the BTC pair. And you can see the dollar pair is reacting strong, right? But at the end of the day, right, if you've invested in this up until like right here maybe, this has been absolutely getting destroyed for the last year in terms of it's done nothing. It's gone sideways while the entire market has 10 to 20x'd in price, right? So looks okay right now. But hopefully you haven't been holding this, you know, for the past year because it's completely underperformed the rest of the market. All right. We're coming into some resistance here, right? You look at the BTC pair. This looks like it's going to break out, right? If it can close above this high, right? If we can get a close above here, I think that's great, and I think this is gonna, you know, we could see a nice continuation of this move here. But yeah, this looks okay. It's breaking out, right? Let's see if it closes that candle bullishly. It looks like it's gonna make a higher high on the weekly, which closes in about half an hour. So let's watch. But yeah, this is interesting. Looks like it's moving a little bit. TRX, I crushed this one. I'm stoked on this one. You know, Kaleo has absolutely crushed this one as well. This thing is just broken out majorly. You look at the BTC pair, right? Why is this so fucking bullish? Well, huge breakout here on the BTC pair, right? So there's your low, massive green dildo. This is what I need LTC to do. We are coming into resistance here on the BTC pair. This is also the second day in a row that TRX is up like 20%, so something to be aware of. But yeah, any sort of pullback here on the BTC pair, this is a big bullish breakout to me. So I'm bullish on TRX. You long the dips. I mean, there's nothing here on the weekly. There's nothing here even on the daily, right? I'm marking out these kind of levels, and I'm longing dips into them if you get them. You might not get them, but if you do, you long it. This is super fucking bullish. BTT is on an absolute tear. I was looking at BTT like a month ago, way the fuck down here. Why I didn't long it, I don't know, because that is like, you know, a casual 500% move. But I was obviously looking at it as kind of, you know, a pennant waiting to break out. We saw obviously, you know, a nice SR flip here. So broke above that key level, This thing just absolutely launched. Same thing here, right? Consolidation, right? Breakout. This is what you do in a bull market. You drop pennants and you wait for shit to break out. You know, there's a little pennant on the lower time frame there. So this thing is absolutely ripping. I would not long this right now. It's up 45% in a day. If you're thinking of longing this right now, you're an idiot. Wait for it to do something that tells you it's ready to make another leg, right? So you want to see consolidation, even if it's little, right? Like you need to see something to give you a reason to long it. Longing it right now makes no fucking sense. You need to see, you know, it's up 45% today. You need to see some sort of setup, some sort of consolidation, but anything that goes up 45% in a day, generally, I'm not going to long it. I'm going to wait for some sort of pullback to get in, because a pullback will happen, right? Like, again, maybe I'm wrong though, right? Like, you could have longed this candle. You could have longed any of these green dailies and made money, but this is by far the biggest of them. So I would wait and see you know, what price wants to do tomorrow. Maybe you get a little bit of a dip, but it's up 45% in the day. I cannot long that myself. I just can't do it. Sushi, I have all these lines on here. Was hoping for a breakout, but you know, DeFi is kind of getting crushed right now. Like EOS, TRX, BTT, these are all coins from the last cycle, right? And DeFi, which has obviously gone ham for the first part of this year, and the end of last year, you know, are getting crushed. So, you know, what can you do? You've got to go where the money is, right? So right now the money is not in DeFi. It looks like a lot of it is flowing into these other coins. It doesn't mean DeFi is dead by any means, right? But, you know, why are you longing this when there's a whole bunch of other coins that look way more bullish? You know, Sushi, for me, it's retesting weekly support, right? So assuming it holds here, I think it will make another leg up. But right now, there's a ton of other coins that look way better than this. Neo, another dinosaur coin, right? It's the same shit over and over again, guys. And this is exactly what I'm waiting for on LTC, right? Is you have all of these dino coins. They're starting to put in a little bit of bullishness, right? So DeFi, everything has been running all year, and a lot of these coins have done shit fuck all versus Bitcoin. And they're just starting to show a little bit of bullishness here, right? This one looks ready to pop, right? So if this breaks out and has a big green candle, Neo USD will pop as well, right? So if you look at this, this is kind of what I'd watch right here. This looks like it's going to break out. So if this puts in a big green candle here, Neo USD is going to have a big move, right? So that looks pretty good, but a lot of these coins have been getting slaughtered. You know, just be careful, obviously. I am in shock. I was long BTT as well from like here, and I closed it like an idiot, but I'm long TRX, luckily. SRM, I mean, came into demand, right? Retested, pushing up, breaking market structure to the upside. This looks good to go higher. So not too much to say about that. Long dips, sell rips. Sol, Samcoin, right? Pretty much can't go wrong. You know, I would love to have, I think my plan last video was to long a retest of this consolidation. It never came, right? It just continued to rip. So you got to find a new area of interest, right? So my next area of interest on this looks bullish, would be to see if we can get some sort of setup here, right? So some sort of move into the 21 to 2250 range might give you a long, but yeah, not going to chase this. I'm going to try and long a pullback, right? I was hoping a long, you know, lower, didn't happen. Get a pullback into here, that's a long. UTK, which we're going to launch the interview here in a moment, looking super bullish. So I'd mentioned that I had stink bids in the 3-day block, or in this weekly block, excuse me. We got, you know, a little wick in there, and now zooming in, I think the H4, H6, right? So we had basically, here's our low. We deviated below the low. We're now back above. This looks absolutely primed to fucking rip to me. And I'm not just saying that because I just interviewed Nuno. This looks really bullish to me. Dipped into the 3-day block, reclaimed this key SR level for me. Soon as this thing breaks out, I think we're going to see a big move. I would not be surprised if this thing moves towards $1 very soon. All right, so that's all I got, guys. This guy wants me to check the DeFi perp chart. Okay, so here you go, right? DeFi perp chart looks fucking bullish. There you go. Came right into my level. It's pushing up. Looks like it wants to break out. So if this breaks out, then yeah, fucking long sushi, right? Sushi's into support here. And DeFi looks bullish, right? So that's a bullish looking chart. You're not wrong. What else like is DeFi? Is Link, I guess, DeFi? You know, Link looks okay. Maybe Sushi's a laggard, right? Because this came into weekly support and then bounced. Sushi is into weekly support right now and it's not doing anything. So maybe this is a laggard. But the DeFi perp chart, I agree. This looks good. Everything looks pretty fucking good, guys. We're in a bull market, right? BTT is up 47% on the fucking day. Fortunes are being made here. Oh my God. Kaleo absolutely smashed this, and TRX. Shout out to him. All right, guys. I'm going to be playing the interview now. So just give me a second to get that set up. Hopefully you stick around to watch this. This was a very good chat I had with Nuno. He's the CSO, Chief Strategy Officer of UTrust. And he's the founder. I think the company is super fucking legit. So I'm going to play that. All right, I'll check BNB. I know BNB be popping. I mean, some of these charts, guys, I don't even know what you want me to say, right? Like these are all just breaking out and they look fucking awesome. Long the dip, right? If you get a chance to long this thing here, you do. Simple as that, right? If we get a chance to long in this kind of area, which we might not, you do. Zooming into the H4, right? This looks pretty fucking bullish, right? So we came in, didn't retest that consolidation. Yeah, I mean, this looks good. It's into resistance a little bit here, right? Like right in here. So maybe we get a little bit something like this, right? But I would long in here. I would long this if it's given into this area. Because yeah, I think this breaks up again. The whole market's going crazy, right? So, all right, guys, I'm going to start the interview now. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll be back this week with another video. But yeah, appreciate you tuning in as always. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I hope you stick around for this interview. I think it's super informative. If you're a fan of crypto, and a fan of the space in general, and you believe that crypto needs to be widely accepted and used for things more than just trading, like actual commerce. UTK is the type of, or UTrust, UTK is the token, is the type of company you want to get behind because they're making it easy for businesses and for people to actually fucking use crypto. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? Guys, I'll do another altcoin video like maybe tomorrow or something. There's so many people in the chat here. I cannot cover all these altcoins. I'll be here all night. But I'm going to play this interview right now, and then I'll do another altcoin video tomorrow or something like that, guys, and I'll try and cover it. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the interview. It's been great, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm just going to switch over here real quick. All right, guys, here we go. I will be in the chat hanging out if you got any questions you want to just ask. All right, what's up, everybody? Trader Main here with another segment of Explain to Main. So super excited about this week's episode. I'm speaking to the one and only Nuno. He is the man behind UTrust. So those of you that don't know what UTrust is, I highly suggest you check them out. I've got their website here. I'm going to leave all of Nuno and there's information in the description of the video. But UTrust is going to be one of the companies that we're going to really see continue to grow and blossom as crypto becomes a more widely used, across kind of all industries for payments, for businesses. It's what we need if we want to see, kind of global acceptance of things like crypto, it being used on a daily basis for payments, really in line with, kind of Satoshi's original vision for blockchain. UTrust is one of the companies on the forefront of that. So I'm really excited to chat with Nuno to kind of get a high level of, who he is, what UTrust does, what they've got kind of coming in the pipeline over the coming months, because it's all super exciting stuff, and how you can use it yourself. I mean, this is a real company in the crypto space that has things that you can actually use if you're a business person or an individual. You can be using UTrust today in your company, in your daily life, to make payments, to accept payments. So I'm super excited for this conversation. I think it's going to be great. There's some really exciting stuff coming on. So Nuno, how you doing today, man?
Good. Thanks for having me and great introduction.
Yeah, what's the weather like in Portugal today? I imagine beautiful and sunny and warm.
Yeah, very, 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 very warm and sunny. Today was like really hot, 28 degrees Celsius. It reached in Braga. I'm in the north. Not
Oh.
usual in April, but I mean, can't complain. Better than raining, you know?
I live in Vancouver, the Pacific Northwest, as most of my viewers know, and so we've got kind of similar London to like similar weather, excuse me, to like London. So it's like really, really rainy most of the year, but we get about 3 months in the summer that are absolutely phenomenal. But Portugal is high on the list of places for me to move to escape the cold weather. So why don't you just start off with giving us just a quick introduction of kind of who you are, how you got started with UTrust, and kind of your guys' vision and mission.
Sure. I mean, my name is Nuno. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer of UTrust. Previously to that, I was the CEO. Um, beginning last year, the CEO changed. Sanya became the CEO, and then I came to be on the strategy side of the company and not so on the operational side. Sanya is now in charge as the CEO, but obviously I work full time at UTrust and all the time with her. But she's leading the company quite well. She was the head of partnerships of eBay Europe and large enterprises and marketplaces of PayPal as well before joining UTrust. So we are in good hands when it comes to the CEO. Strategy wise, I take care of that now. I'm more of the crypto guy of the company. I envisioned UTrust in late 2016 because I had a really poor experience while paying with a cryptocurrency payment gateway at that time. So I lost some Bitcoins and I was really upset. So I decided to create something better that not only provided the ability for customers to pay with crypto and merchants to accept it, but also a layer of safety for customers due to fraudulent merchants. A bit in line with what PayPal does, but obviously completely different because as we use the blockchain itself, it's faster, cheaper, and safer than traditional payment gateways that rely on multiple third parties and whatnot. And that's basically it. 2016, late 2016, the idea was in my head. I started the project bootstrapping, connecting with people here and there. And then came the opportunity to do initial coin offering in 2017. I grabbed that opportunity to raise capital and obviously to issue a token UTK, and then to speed up everything that we are doing now. And as you know, we are quite advanced when it comes to building and delivering. If compared with the 99.9, I would say, of the projects that you see in the market, they have
Absolutely.
little to no product, and we are just miles away. Real company.
That's one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you, and really what I want to kind of dive into as this series progresses is you guys are a legit company, right? And for someone like myself, and part of the point of this series is to talk to cool people and cool projects in the space, and just to kind of expand my knowledge of what's going on inside crypto outside of just the chart, because that's kind of my domain. And so it's really cool to talk to someone and someone who's part of a business that this is working. You can download the app, especially if you live in Europe. You can get a Visa or a swipe card, a debit card. and actually use your crypto for payments. And if you're a business, you can actually set up UTrust as your payment gateway and be transacting. And I think that's just such a huge, you're leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of the companies in the space that are releasing a token before they've even built anything. Or even have an idea of what they're even building or if it's going to be feasible. And unfortunately, I think that's to the detriment of our space a little bit, is you have all of these, hey, we have a cool idea, let's raise a bunch of money and then let's see if it works. Whereas, here, this works. We know it does. And so I'm really excited to kind of dig in a little bit further about, because you mentioned PayPal there. So we can kind of dig into that in a little bit. Real quick, you mentioned you lost a couple of Bitcoins doing a transaction back in 2015. So it was legit like 2 or 3 Bitcoins?
It was a bit more.
That hurts.
I will not mention the payment gateway. I don't know if I did it in other MAAs, but I will not do it. They are our direct competitors now, and they are the reason why basically I wanted to create something better. Yeah. And in fact, we have a ton of merchants changing from them to us.
What better form of revenge than to just build a better solution, I've been there losing Bitcoins back in 2013, 2014. I don't even like to think about now, just with how high Bitcoin has risen. But, you did the right thing. You got back at them by building a better solution and taking their customers, which is awesome. So tell me a little bit more about, the kind of key or main uses for UTrust right now. I know obviously with regulations, and there were some questions in the AMA that I posted on Twitter about, US and what's going on there. But let's start with Europe, which is your guys' main domain. What are the primary use cases? What are you being used for the most? And what are the kind of things that you have coming out that you're the most excited about?
No, that's an excellent question. I will deep dive on that now. Our main product is the payment gateway. It allows merchants all over the world, excluding US, because we are still not licensed there. We are working on it, to accept cryptocurrency payments, and then they can either convert it to fiat or just accept the crypto directly through us. We do the conversion automatically. So basically, we shield the merchants from volatility. It's an efficient way to accept crypto nowadays because the volatility is very high. And then we have obviously our wallet. That's a B2C product that's mainly for regular people that just want to buy, sell, spend Bitcoin, top up from their bank, withdraw to their bank, top up their Visa card. We issue Visa cards across all the EEA. So those are 2 different products, one tackling the businesses, another one tackling the personal accounts for regular users. From the business side, UTrust, the beauty of UTrust is it's an open platform that processes the payments on chain. This means that you can pay from any wallet in the world, okay? Completely different of what PayPal has announced now. They say that they accept crypto. First of all, you cannot top up or withdraw crypto into your wallet on PayPal. You can only buy and sell. It's a closed ecosystem database. And then whenever you want to make a payment with crypto, you need to have that crypto that you bought with fiat in your wallet. So it does not interact with the blockchain itself.
Kind of defeats the whole purpose.
It defeats the purpose of blockchain and the vision of Satoshi Nakamoto. Obviously, he didn't create Bitcoin, so you need to use it inside an app without even interacting with the blockchain, because it does not solve the problems of traditional payments. So at UTrust, our platform is open. You can use any wallet in the world. You can be in any country in the world using your own private keys. You can buy goods and services. It obviously removes chargebacks. It's faster and cheaper when you compare with traditional payment flows that have numerous third parties interacting with a transaction. So I think when it comes to the real adoption of cryptocurrencies, UTrust is in the front line, because we actually, the first article I published at the UTrust blog was exactly the vision of UTrust. It was in mid 2017, I believe, and it specifically mentions the vision we still have today. I already knew that PayPal would accept cryptocurrency payments one day or another, but I also knew that it would be in a closed database controlled system with high fees and poor efficiency, and that does not interact with the blockchain itself. So they are doing something good because they are kind of taking the fear and giving a bit of comfort for merchants that cryptocurrencies are not scam. Although I think that 95% or plus are, but the ones that are not scam are actually going to revolutionize the financial system as we know it today. Um,
Yeah.
and
I,
that's basically it.
I think PayPal, like you said, it gives a little bit of legitimacy to the
Yeah,
space to the
yeah,
general public. People know PayPal, right? PayPal's a name you hear. You've used PayPal before. So I think it's great for crypto. And I think the way that you're viewing it is awesome, right? What I don't think is the right approach is saying, oh no, PayPal's coming and they're going to take over. In reality, I'm like, let PayPal come in. Let these kind of
yeah.
old institutions bring crypto to a wider audience, and then when they learn more, then they'll go for the best use case, right? Because
Exactly,
the barrier
exactly.
to entry sometimes with crypto is the fear and the unknown of what it is, right? People don't know what it is. All they've heard about is like Bitcoin talked about on the news and how it crashes and it pumps like
Yeah,
crazy, or it's involved in, Silk Road and drug dealing. So when you have legit companies like Tesla, like PayPal, bringing kind of a wider audience to crypto, then those that, want the best solution, they're going to come out and they're going to seek companies, like UTrust. And I've had terrible experiences with PayPal. I think we all have. I think PayPal is one of the reasons a lot of people got into crypto in the first place. I rented a condo in Los Angeles, and the person asked me to make the payment through PayPal, and I didn't know at the time, but the way that I'd paid, I guess there was no insurance on it, so the person essentially never showed up. It wasn't their listing. It was like a fake listing, but I had sent them the money and I had no way of recovering it. PayPal was basically like, well, you sent
yeah.
it to a family and friend and that money's gone. So, I've had frustrations with PayPal, stuff being locked up with insane fees, with chargebacks. Like it's unbelievable. So, I'm very excited to see UTrust grow because it seems like just a truly better solution, especially if you're a crypto
It is.
enthusiast like we all are. Why wouldn't you use this? If you have a small business, it seems like a no-brainer. And I also like that there's a little bit of a social angle to it in that, any wallet can be used. I think that's huge for, not first world countries, right? There's, countries all over Africa, all over Asia, all over, I mean, the world,
All the
obviously, and
countries.
people who don't have bank accounts. But it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they aren't transacting and they aren't doing business. And to give them the ability to now sell their wares, sell whatever they want to sell, their services, but actually accept money, and all they need is a cell phone. What's crazy is everyone in the world seems to have a cell phone. Not everyone, but most people have a cell phone and an internet
Most
connection.
people.
You're more
Yeah.
likely to have a cell phone and an internet connection, and therefore can have a wallet, than you are to have a bank account or an
True.
ID. So I
True.
think that's a really cool application to UTrust as well, is for, people who might not have access for that bank, but they want to sell something. They can do so through your platform relatively easily.
I agree. And just to add to the bank conversation, 2/3 of the world's population above 18 years old do not own a bank account.
Wow.
This society that we live in that kind of enforces also people that are on the first world countries to have a bank account by obligation, then those banks will use your money and can even go bankrupt and you lose everything. So this is wrong. You
Yeah.
should be able to own your own money without relying on a guy with a suit and a tie that will lend your money for huge interest and you make zero of it. And plus, the bank can even go bankrupt. So forget banks. Banks are something created and obviously run by huge monopolies that want to keep it like that because ultimately they have a yacht, they have a Ferrari and whatnot, and you are broke because they
Yeah.
will suck you dry. Um,
Absolutely.
People are empowered by Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies because they do not rely on banks themselves directly. Even those stable coins rely on banks. Um, People that use the money do not. Ultimately, we need to see if the stable coins are the fiat that sits in the banks is insured or not. Okay, but that's a different conversation. So basically, you can be on any corner in the world, your mobile phone, as you explained, and do not rely on institutions such as banks that their sole purpose is not to store your money. Don't take me wrong, that's bullshit. Their purpose is to make money with your money.
Yeah,
Okay,
and to
that's
charge you fees.
exactly, that's their business.
Yeah.
So I think that the world will change. It will become all super virtual, digital. Cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Bank accounts will have a tough life in the coming years because people are getting smarter. They are adopting technology in a faster pace. And if you look at money, in the last decades, there was no evolution. 20 years ago, I also paid by card some of my stuff. Today, I also pay some of my stuff, merchants that don't accept crypto, obviously. So, and it's the same infrastructure. Cars ride alone. The world is changing. Virtual reality is improving. I mean, everything. Your mobile phone is basically a powerful laptop in your hand,
Yeah.
but money stays the same. It's paper cash run by old school banks that use your money to make money with your money. You know what I mean? And people still use pieces of plastic to pay. Although we on our personal wallet we obviously issue Visa cards. Um, UTrust vision is that in 5 to 10 years they will cease to exist. The money will will interact only through the blockchain. That's my vision. I don't know if it's going to be stable coins issued by companies or Bitcoin or government issued money on the blockchain, because that will happen as well. But if the central bank starts issuing currency on the blockchain, banks will not have the importance they have today, because you can also store that money most likely like you store cash on your wallet without storing it on a bank account.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's interesting the point about the banks, and for all the real hardcore Bitcoiners and crypto people. I mean, if this is not the kind of C-suite executive you want running your crypto company, I don't know what is. It's like screw the banks. That's what it's all about, right? Short the bankers, long Bitcoin. I did my tour. I did my tour of service at the banks. I worked at one of the big banks here in Canada for several years. And I hated it. And I hated it for a lot of reasons. I mean, first of all, when I learned about what fractional reserve banking was, I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute. So you guys are lending out my money more than I even have on deposit with you, right? And then when you have things like COVID happening, not that it ever got so bad that there were bank runs where people were going to the bank and withdrawing all the cash. But in Canada, for a little while, they were only letting you withdraw a certain amount of cash out of the bank. And that's kind of scary. And, it's weird to think, you have this piece of paper and it says, it used to say this is worth gold. Now it's like, oh, this is a promissory note. Really, I mean, at the end of the day, it could be worth nothing. You don't know. And if you have stuff at the bank, if you have a certificate saying, I own all this gold, in my opinion, you don't really own that gold. The bank owns that gold. You have this note that says that gold belongs to you. But if something catastrophic happens and you go to the bank, they technically could not give it to you. Right. And so it's never really in your control. That money that you have at the bank, that's not really yours. I mean, it's yours, obviously, but you're not in control. Right. And that's kind of what the whole purpose of blockchain is. Right. It's peer to peer. We eliminate that middleman, excuse me. And what I hated about the banks was the primary way that we made money was not on investing our clients' money and doing well. It was fees. Overdraft fees, interest fees. That's how we made the majority of our income. If you were late on payments, and just bank account fees, just to have the account open, we were charging you $13 a month. That's how they made the majority of their money. And it's almost one of those things as you get older, you kind of realize it's like, okay, well, they teach you in school, oh, all you got to do is put this much money into your retirement savings every month and you're going to have $1 million by the time you're 60, right? But it's like, if it was that easy to get rich, right? If the easiest way to invest, which is through a bank, was the easiest way to get, everyone would be rich. Obviously, it's not in your best interest. Most of these banks, you're not even going to beat inflation. Investing in their products,
not anymore. This was like 50 years ago.
Yeah, it's insane. It's in my grandparents' time that might have made sense when you could also buy a house for $30,000. It's just not the same anymore. So I think your passion for really not just wanting to, build a cool company, but actually stay true to, what we're all here for. I mean, obviously a lot of us are here to make money. But I think the kind of the ethos of crypto is, screw the banks, right? Screw centralization. Let's have control of our own commerce, and we can do peer-to-peer commerce, and that's what UTrust enables, which is incredible. And at the end of the day, you get to keep more of your money, which is also a bonus, right? If you're a small business, right? I own a company. If you're a small business, those fees add up. And if I can save money on every single transaction by not having to deal with a flow through that is a bank, I'm about that all day long. So that's a great explanation of what's going on the business side. I think the personal side obviously is pretty straightforward. You can have your UTrust app, you can get a Visa, you can now use crypto to transact with anything, right? Anyone. I can go to Starbucks and use my UTrust Visa.
Yeah.
So very cool. So let's dive into the PayPal news a little bit more kind of in depth, because I think a lot of people saw PayPal, they're starting to accept Litecoin and things like that. Me, as a huge investor in Litecoin, is disappointed that the price hasn't doubled since that news. But my understanding, and maybe you can kind of dive into this a little more, is that to actually transact with crypto on PayPal, I have to buy the crypto on PayPal, and the crypto stays on PayPal as well.
Yeah, they are a closed database system, as I explained. You can buy whatever you want. They just update their inventory. They buy or sell on an exchange that they connect with a liquidity provider. That's it. Whenever you buy and sell crypto, you're actually not buying yourself. PayPal is buying on your behalf. You cannot top up and withdraw crypto on in and out your wallet outside PayPal ecosystem, because they don't even use the blockchain. And whenever you pay a merchant, you're actually not paying on the blockchain because, as I explained, they are an off-chain solution. Nothing to do with Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper, I have to say. You can pay. Tomorrow they could say that they allow you to pay with gold. Doesn't mean that you are sending gold to someone. Basically, they just update balances. But on the blockchain side, it's a shame that they do the same, because actually the blockchain exists because it's more efficient, because it empowers people to use their own keys. So this is counterproductive from a technical standpoint of innovation, but from a familiarization standpoint and comfort for the merchants is good, because they will start looking at this with different eyes, and then obviously they will have to choose the best solution for them, the one that eliminates chargebacks, that has lower fees, is safer, and obviously that has powerful features on top of that. And by the way, for anyone that's listening, if you want to integrate UTrust, you can do it in minutes. Creating account takes a little more than 1 minute. The integration is very fast because we have all major plugins built. So it's as easy as integrating Stripe or PayPal, but much cheaper, faster, and safer, I have to say,
No, I mean, I think the whole PayPal thing, it's no different than me in Canada buying something from a US merchant, and all they do is buy USD for me at whatever exchange rate they determine USD is at that day, which is not even close to what the real exchange rate is at. And then they just do the transaction for me. There's no actual instance where I own USD unless I open up. So it kind of, like you said, it defeats the entire purpose of, doing commerce with crypto.
And it's a closed ecosystem. You are within PayPal. You cannot interact outside of PayPal. That's ridiculous. Blockchain, I can interact with anybody I want in the world through the blockchain. That's why it was created.
Yeah.
I think Satoshi Nakamoto is whatever he is now, if he's alive or not, he's upset, because what the hell is this? I created this to solve these issues, and then these traditional players come in and completely change the message around it and don't even use the technology itself and then brag about it. But all good for UTrust. This is great news for us, to be honest. Let merchants get familiar with crypto. It's much faster for us. The faster these companies adopt crypto, even without using it, the faster the doors are opened for us all over the place. And we are growing as hell, by the way.
Yeah.
Record month last month. Our numbers are skyrocketing. And I understand that's because of this news. But ultimately, people that use traditional services get familiar with what the technology is and then start using the real deal. I hope so, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, no, it's a spotlight on the space, right? And as soon as a company's like, "Oh, what is this crypto thing? Oh, PayPal's using it. Oh, it's kind of expensive. Let me see what else is out there." UTrust is going to be, I think, the solution that people are going to be drawn to. So, on that note of growth and success that you're having, what's the next kind of few months look like for UTrust? What do you got kind of in the pipeline? What are you really excited about?
Our pipeline is insane. By the way, we are hiring full team. To reply to your question, we have something really powerful coming. We will announce it this month and probably will be implemented on Q2. We have reverse staking tier two coming to hold, most likely in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But I'm referring to the payment gateway side, not the wallet. We are going to introduce something that will completely change the game. And I really even sweat when I talk about this. I'm so excited about stuff that we built, but this is insane. And for the people that know me, UTrust is super straightforward. We never talk bullshit or whatever. If we believe in something, it's good, usually. Always, I would have to say. So we are going to present two key features for merchants that will offset the fees that they pay and will make them profit. Imagine a payment gateway that instead of charging you insane fees like PayPal can go up to 7-8%. It's just crazy. And if you do 1 million a year, they will eat up 7 to 8% of your total volume. And usually your margins range between 10 and 30%. Okay, normal merchants. So basically, they are eating up a huge amount of your profit because you also have to pay taxes on that and whatnot. Okay, imagine a payment gateway that charges you 1% flat fee, that has a mechanism that is extremely efficient in a way that will most likely offset that fee, so you will pay zero at the end of the year and you will even profit a bit on that, and then has another feature that can make you 10% a year. Some merchants will double their profit using UTrust. We are creating something really insane. We are changing the game by leveraging the power of crypto, because we actually use crypto. We process transactions on chain. So instead of having a game where we need to win because we are cheaper and we remove chargebacks that cause huge losses for merchants on a yearly basis due to stolen credit card payments, we remove all of that. We are cheaper, but then we bring a value prop to the table that if you are a merchant, you make money by using UTrust instead of paying fees. So at the end of the year, if you calculate, you lost 5% of $1,050,000 by using PayPal, for example, and you made 100K by using UTrust. So there is a gap of 150K. So you
Yeah.
doubled your profit. Can you imagine what this will, the impact that this will have on the payment space? Because now we live in a world that merchants actually, you process their volume, you have their money, but they still have to pay you for that.
Yeah.
Who will change this? I don't know. Might be UTrust, might not be UTrust. But the way the financial system is going, somebody needs to solve this, and I think it will be UTrust. And I do believe that other crypto payment gateways might copy us once they see what's coming out. But the industry is too big. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope our competitors grow. Coinbase Commerce, BitPay, I hope they grow because it's still such a small niche, and they do process the payments on chain. So I'm actually not saying that they are bad. Um, Although our technology is quite different, we have underpayments, overpayments, refund, everything fully automated with a click of a button. Our APIs are also fantastic, but doesn't matter. That's a separate topic. What we will bring to the topic, and I think a lot of people from our community will listen to this and will get excited. This will be announced probably in a week or two tops. The concept behind what's going to be released. It's already on the build. And I really think that this is going to be a game changer. Imagine that you make $1 million a year or 100K a year, and instead of losing on fees constantly, you can actually increase your profit significantly by using a payment gateway. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, obviously there's huge advantages with just the holding of crypto, right? And so it sounds like that could be part of what you're working on. I won't obviously spoil it. I'll look forward to that announcement, but that sounds very exciting. I
Good.
mean, what's
Good.
cool about what you guys are doing, obviously, is you're the first mover. You're the biggest player kind of in crypto right now in this space. So even if there is competition, right, competition just breeds better products, right?
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I'm on your job opening page here, which I think is great. I know a lot of people who follow me on Twitter always looking for people. If you want to really get into the space, you know, you don't have to be a full-time trader. You can work. There's tons of companies like UTrust that are hiring. So not only can you still be involved in, having a regular job, but you can be working in an industry that you're passionate about. It's actually surprising to me, how few people who are like so in love with the space. It's like, well, why don't you work for a crypto company then? Like, there's so many of them. This isn't 2013. This isn't 2017. Where these companies are going to be a flash in the pan. Companies like UTrust are here to stay. I mean, I'm getting excited listening to you about all this stuff that's going on. I mean, a lot of companies, especially ones at this level who are going to use a thing like UTrust, their margins are razor thin, right? A 5% fee is the difference between making money and not making money.
True.
In the restaurant industry, right? People are like, oh, these restaurants sell. Restaurants' margins are like this, right? That's why so many restaurants went out of business during COVID, because you have like 1 month where you're out of business, you're done. So the fact that who doesn't like saving money? Ease of use is there. The product is already built. It's seamless. It's easy to use. I think let's get to some of the people's questions here, and we can kind of do these on rapid fire because I don't want to keep you all day. I know it's about dinner time over there. One thing before we get to kind of the AMA section here, what is the plan for the U.S.? Because I think I had a couple of comments that are going to be about plans to come to the U.S. So rather than answer each one individually, kind of what is the things that are inhibiting you guys from operating in the U.S. currently, and kind of what's the game plan to get things going over on this side of the pond?
Yeah, that's a great question. Technically and bank-wise, there is nothing inhibiting us. We could definitely serve the US. Indeed, there are a couple of payment gateways that kind of, let's say, compete with us that serve the US without licenses. Our goal is to do everything by the book. We don't want to jeopardize our success just to rush something. The US is tricky because the licenses go state by state, and there are a lot of states. So not only this takes a lot of time, but also is extremely costly. We are a startup at the end of the day, let's not forget. We don't own 90% of the supply like other crypto companies. We own only 10%, and it's locked until 2022. So whatever money we spend really carefully, because we don't want to jeopardize, obviously, the operation and what we are doing. US expansion is costly and it's a bit slow, but worry not, we have a solution for that. We will probably partner with a provider in the US that will provide us the infrastructure. And then as our business grows there, we start applying to our own licenses. A lot of players do this, okay? It's normal to do it. Revolut, Robinhood, a lot of companies use licensing umbrellas to operate in a country. And then as they grow, they raise more capital. They then start getting their own licenses to decrease the costs. So this is basically what we are doing now. We are talking with several providers. The one that will fit us the best probably is the one that we will connect with, and then we will be able to serve the US market. So I think people shouldn't panic that UTrust will never serve the US market. Obviously we will. It's a question of finding the right partner.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we are growing as hell without the US. So I just can imagine that if we had the US now, it would be difficult for our team to keep up the development pace because the growth would be even bigger, because most likely 50% of our merchants now would be from the US, because that's the rate of applications we are getting. And
Yeah, I mean,
our plugins work all over the world, even in the US, our integrations, because those are technical. I'm here only talking about licensing and compliance
yeah.
and legal, and that's a completely
I mean,
different talk.
people in the U.S., as you know, there's a reason you can't trade on most crypto exchanges in the U.S. anymore, right? The U.S. makes it extremely difficult
Yeah.
to get involved, and so right now in the U.S., if an exchange does not require KYC as a U.S. citizen, you cannot trade on that exchange, and that's because they want to know who's transacting with crypto, and it's understandable. It's one of the biggest economies, if not the biggest economy in the world, and the IRS and the SEC are obviously, the major regulators in the space. So, I think what you're doing is the right move, right? You don't want to grow too fast to a point where you can't service your existing customer base or your future customers that would come in from opening up to the US.
And have legal liabilities and problems over here.
Exactly,
We don't want it.
exactly. You want to do it right, and being in a startup, I think something you said that is great, right? You're operating on limited capital, and you have to be very strategic how you spend that money. And the last thing you want to do is open up the doors to the U.S., like you said, have this huge influx of customers, and all of a sudden, you can't keep up with demand. It's better to grow, I think, strategically where it makes sense. Sounds like the U.S. is coming, guys. So, patience, but it will be here soon from the sounds of it. So,
For sure.
a
For
couple
sure.
questions we
It's
got
coming
here.
this year, most likely. So we are choosing the provider, basically.
So Rob on Twitter wants to know, as things currently stand, are US exchanges like Coinbase able to list UTK, the token, or is the SEC regulation that still needs to be clarified before that can happen?
Each exchange has their due diligence process. Obviously, we were listed on Coinbase custody. It's public. Regarding other US exchanges, I cannot talk about it. I really can't say anything about it, but I think UTrust is a great project that delivers by far more than any project out there. The only thing that might compete with us in terms of volume or whatnot are exchange related products, because they have a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Real economy products, I don't see a lot of them that actually transact with the real world and real economy as we do, and enable adoption.
Yeah.
So exchanges also look at that. They look at the product, they look at the token. When they look at the token, is it security or not? One thing that might or might not, this is tricky, make a token a security is the burn mechanism. We had to remove that or put it in pause until we figure out things properly with US-based exchanges. I think a platform like UTrust, a team like us, will have no problems to get listed on US-based exchanges. This is my gut feeling, but obviously I cannot disclose anything more regarding this. Whenever you talk with an exchange, you are with an NDA, and you cannot disclose.
Yeah.
That's it. Otherwise, they say that they don't list you anymore and whatnot, because of the price
Of course.
impact that might have,
Of course. Well, as someone who's not involved with UTK or with any of the exchanges, the chart looks really bullish. That's all I'll say. So Penguin wants to know, Nuno, what do you see for the greater kind of society? When will they be ready to adopt crypto payments on a mass scale? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Do you think we're there already?
5 to 10 years mass scale. I would say 2 years to see like crazy numbers already. For me, I really struggle to understand why people still pay with credit, debit cards, and bank wires online when they can just scan a code and it's paid, and store their own money without a vampire bank storing their money. Okay, so for me, it's happening. Tesla, PayPal, and all of those services.
Yeah, it's right before our eyes. I mean, that's the coolest thing about this cycle, right?
They are opening the doors.
Is last cycle it was always the talk of the institutions coming, and maybe some of them were here. Now it's like it's here. I don't know. Like, as much as I'm very much a chart guy, and every time crypto has a big bull run and then crashes, it crashes, 80 or so percent. And part of what I see happening now with MicroStrategy, with Square, with PayPal, or with Tesla buying, is I think we're putting in price floors. You know what I mean? And I think we're getting, it's I have people talking to me about crypto on a level that, back in 2017, I'd be like, this is the top. Now I'm like, well, I don't blame you. It's everywhere, right? Like, you can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin now. So I think it's all coming. I think you're right, but yeah,
You can buy a Tesla in the US with Bitcoin.
yes, in the U.S., not nowhere else.
Maybe next week you can buy it in Europe on some weeks. I don't know. Let's see
Oh,
if UTrust can bring you Tesla retail sellers. We
interesting.
have yeah, we have a Lotus.
Yeah,
You can buy a Lotus with crypto. I mean, we are talking with a bunch of car dealers, independent car dealers.
yeah.
That would be cool. Being able to buy Tesla in Europe, that would be
I
sick.
mean, there's when you take volatility out of the game, right? The risk of volatility. I don't see why businesses aren't. Obviously there's that fear of unknown, but that's the risk. I understand, like, you don't want to accept Bitcoin because Bitcoin might move in price, but when that piece is removed from the puzzle, it's like, what's stopping you? So T1,000,003, he wants to know about Hold HQ. So he said Hold HQ was launched about 6 months ago. Is there a timeline to onboard more countries soon? What is holding back the launch, in other countries where the UTrust wallet is already available? Is there something you can speak on?
Yeah, I can definitely. What's holding us on from a Hold is our wallet. It's called Hold. So basically, it serves the EEA due to the fact that our Visa license is passported across the EEA, and obviously our banking providers are also serve the European Economic Area. Okay. We are going to expand to other countries, but I think this comes in line with the UTrust expansion. Ideally, we will just release it at the same time, but the demand of the wallet is just insane. Bear in mind that you can use the wallet from the vast majority of the countries of the world. You cannot just have the card and interact with your bank account. You can do exchanges though. From a card and bank account perspective, it's still tricky because, again, we are getting those licenses and working towards that. It's easier for you to build a platform than actually to get the licenses to operate a platform. That's the fun part. People think it's the other way around, but crazy that licensing, compliance, and all of that stuff, it just takes so much time because you are dealing with bureaucracy, with the extremely traditional field of the market. So it's just
And
tricky.
and you're dealing with dinosaurs, right? Banks and these types of institutions, they move
Yeah,
extremely slow. I don't know if anyone
and
listening
license
works,
providers.
yeah, if they
Yeah, yeah.
work at a bank, like, the computer that you use is from like 1995 still. Because it's
It's
for them to
true.
upgrade is a huge ordeal, and they're like, "Oh, well, if it works, if it ain't
It's
broke, don't
true.
fix it." So to try and bring something as revolutionary and as cutting edge to the space, you're going to be dealing with a lot of red tape. You're going to be dealing with bureaucracy, slow moving parts, and I think a lot of the questions are kind of similar to that. When is it coming to the U.S.? When is it coming to other countries? We have someone
And I would
ask.
like to add something here. I don't know
Sure.
if you're familiar with Revolut, but everybody in Europe is. They are worth a lot of billions now. Raised a 700 million euro Series C, I believe, and they took years, almost 5 years, to tap in the U.S. market. 4 years, almost 4 years, to tap in the U.S. market, and they have billions at their disposal. So when people ask us this stuff, it's tricky. We don't have billions, but for sure we are very careful, and we manage our funds in a clever way to extend our runaway. But we don't have billions. We cannot go to the US and just buy companies that already have those licenses to incorporate. We need to partner. We need to figure things out in a very smart way. We are doing our best. I think that this year we will tap into the US market. And that's just to show how fast we are. And we are not I don't know how many billion dollars company, you know, but we are still fast and we are smart when we do stuff.
Yeah.
I consider this things kind of bootstrapping your way into a market, because if you wanted to enter the US market in a really fast way, you would have to spend so much money that it's just insane. It would
Yeah.
jeopardize the product side, for example, you know?
I mean, I think what people are going to realize from this conversation here is when you're building a, and not that other crypto companies aren't real companies, but when you're building something that is going to be long lasting, used globally, and revolutionizes a space like the payments industry, it's not something that happens in a month. It's very easy to say, hey, we're creating this thing, we've launched a token, we've raised all this money. If you're not really building anything, or, if you're selling, just a widget, or you're selling an NFT, I mean, what you're trying to do is change a system that's been in place for literally hundreds of years. So it might take some time. And I think a lot of people, the question is, hey, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? It's going to take some time. I think the way to look at these kind of things is, rather than just look forward, is to look in hindsight and say, okay, what's been accomplished so far? How far have we gotten? That's super exciting. And then realize, that growth is exponential in something like this. Once you knock down one of those dominoes in the US, it's going to happen very quickly. And so I think it sounds like what you guys are doing is building that really strong base. So when the US domino does tip over, it doesn't collapse the entire company, right? You guys are able to sustain it, and you're ready to, enter into that market. I don't know if you guys listening know this, but a lot of companies don't enter the US for this exact reason. It is a very, very difficult market to get into in most industries. It is very difficult from a tax perspective, from a licensing and securities perspective, from a from almost any reason. I own a business, I own a recruitment company. For me to transact with U.S. companies is a huge pain in the butt because I'm in Canada, and even though we share a border, it's not easy for me to accept U.S. money. It is not easy for me to go after a client who might be late on paying me. Technically, hopefully none of my clients are listening. If they don't pay me, it would cost me more to hire a lawyer and try and go get that money than the money's even worth, right? So the US is obviously a behemoth, and I'm confident you guys are going to get in there and it's going to be huge, but it just takes some time. What's the saying? Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So seems like a lot of the questions around, when are you coming to the US? Someone's asking about tier 2. Is there plans to integrate other coins?
Okay. To be honest, we do have plans to integrate other coins in the payment gateway. We already have those coins integrated, ready for deploy. The only issue we have is from a UX UI perspective. On the payment gateway, nobody uses those coins. Let's be honest. People use the coins that we have. Those ones are the ones that are widely used for payments in the market. Dash, specifically in Latin America. USDT is used 100 times more than USDC, and it's growing in volume. And obviously, Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin is king. And obviously, we have our own token that's cheaper on fees. But those are the currencies that people actually use for payments. Then we have other ones that are integrated and should be released soon, as we see more demand also from our merchants. It's cool to have 100 currencies integrated. You go to the widget and you waste time finding the currency you want to pay with to say that you have all of those currencies. But at the end of the day, people will not use them. 99.999 will use Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, Dash, and our own token because it gives a small discount. That's it. So we don't want to pollute. Our business model is not to partner with a bunch of projects and say we will integrate this and that. Only the best ones that we actually see that there is demand, they are growing, their technology is amazing, and it's not like just air, like many of the coins out there that will never be integrated at UTrust because it's a total.
That's a good point. It's cool to have a big list of coins that are available, but what is actually doing volume? What are people actually using to transact, and what coins are going to serve the greatest percentage of the population? It's not 50 coins; it's like 5.
Exactly. And from the wallet side, we also we are not an exchange as per se. So we have no interest in listing 50 different currencies. We are a bridge between fiat and crypto. The whole mission and vision is to be a bridge between the real and digital economy, and to allow you to live a life spending your crypto without relying on the bank account necessarily. Although it allows you to connect to a bank account, you can just top up your card with crypto and you're ready to roll. You don't need a bank account. But I don't see us integrating many currencies. We will integrate here and there, but we are definitely not going to pollute our ecosystem with a bunch of useless coins that, to be honest, have no demand on the market. They might have a good marketing. Nobody uses them, so probably they will not.
So Dentacoin is not coming to UTrust, guys. I hate to break it to you. Dentacoin will not be integrated on UTrust.
I don't know what Dentacoin.
Neither do I. It's just a random shit coin. I believe it was a coin that came out in 2017 that was like used to pay dentist or something. I don't know. It's ridiculous. But let's make this the last question here, because I think this is one that's going to apply to a lot of people, and then we'll wrap it up. Paulius, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He wants to know, he's a long-term investor in UTrust. He likes the product and he's bullish. That's good to know. But he said one thing that worries him about crypto payments and the sector as a whole is taxation. So obviously there's tax on asset gains when you sell crypto in his country, wherever they name people Paulius. There's a 15% capital gains tax on crypto. So he's saying, if I pay for everyday expenses in crypto, it doesn't seem attractive to me. So his question is, capital gains is one obstacle for wider mass adoption of crypto payments. What are your opinions, comments on this?
My opinion is that it might apply in a bull run because there are capital gains. Otherwise, there will be losses. In speculative assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and whatnot, in a certain amount of countries. But for stable coins, it does not apply. And I really do believe that stable coins will play a massive role on payments. Not all the countries charge taxes when you pay with crypto. I think many of them will actually remove the taxes when we are talking about payments, but that's a different conversation. And if you have to pay taxes because you paid with crypto, I mean, it's the country you live in. You have to pay them. You have if you are gaining in a year, if you have to pay capital gains, means that you need to gain something. If you buy Bitcoin today and it crashes 10%, you don't have to pay anything. But if you are making some gains, make sure to pay the taxes in your country if there are taxes. I mean, this is something that you cannot avoid: death and taxes.
Yeah, I think if you're paying taxes, as much as everyone hates them, we all don't want to pay taxes. I completely agree. My advice, as a former CPA, is absolutely pay your taxes, because the last thing you want to do is make a whole bunch of money and then realize that you haven't paid any taxes on it and get absolutely drilled by the tax governing body in your country, because they will come to get you, especially if you live in countries like the US. I think to Paulius's point here, and to kind of what you say, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, what are you in crypto for? If you're just in crypto to accumulate more Bitcoin, great. But I mean, for me personally, like at the end of the day, I have stuff to pay for. Right, like I mean, I'm here to earn more crypto. Of course, I wanna amass Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatever.
Profit, otherwise,
but I'm trying to make money, and I'm using that money to buy stuff. So rather than having to sell the crypto I have on whatever exchange I'm using to get it to my bank, because that's what I'm doing anyways. At the end of the month, I always take I take a little bit out, and I have to pay tax on that. So. You know, you're not, there's no instance here, Paulius, where you're getting around that. If you're ever going to spend that crypto legally, you're going to pay tax on it at some point. So now you're just doing it directly. It's all one. And that to me is huge, because right now I have to send a request from my exchange to transfer money to my bank. And then every single time my bank gives me shit, even though I've been banking with them for over 15 years. Every time they go, well, what is this? I go, it's the same thing I do every month for the last 4 years. I always take out money from this exact same method, and they always question it. They put a hold on it, and then I pay tax on it at the end of the year, because I am, or maybe I'm accepting a loss. It depends when I sell. but now you're just doing it directly. So I understand your question, but that's unavoidable if you ever want to spend crypto, UTrust or not. If you're ever going to sell your crypto to pay for stuff in the real world, you're going to pay tax on it. So
unless it's a stable coin.
yeah.
And unless 2/3 of the world are unbanked anyways, and the vast majority of the countries don't even enforce taxes. I'm in Portugal and there are no taxes for crypto payments.
Yes. I'm moving to Portugal very soon, guys. Portugal or Dubai, I don't know. No crypto taxes sounds pretty nice to me. And obviously it depends where you live, but yeah, I mean, taxes are unavoidable for the most part, unless you live in Portugal, apparently. But it is what it is. And to me, it's all about ease of use. Like that's what draws me to a company like UTrust more than anything is how easy is it for me to spend my crypto? If I can have a card where I can go buy my coffee with it and it's like, oh, capital gains. It's like, listen, I'm buying a coffee, right? Rather than taking out $10,000 at the end of the month, I'm spending $6 on a coffee and paying the tax at that point. It makes no difference. It's all going to wash out in the end, in my opinion, but yeah. It's all ease of use, right? I think one of the biggest barriers to entry in crypto is how complex things are. And everyone understands what a Visa is, right? Globally. And if you have a card where it's like, hey, I have my Bitcoin on here and I want to go buy something, I want to go buy a meal. I mean, that sounds pretty sweet to me. So I won't keep you any longer. This went longer than I think we intended, but this was a super fun conversation. So I have no regrets about that. Awesome. You know, hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about UTrust. This is a company. This is a guy I'm very bullish on. You know, I own the token personally, not just because the chart looks great, but because, you know, to me, this is no different. If you believe in, you know, SAM and FTX, you want to own FTT or SOL or whatever. Same thing here. If you believe in UTrust, which I absolutely do, and I think you should, if you're a true believer in blockchain and crypto as, you know, revolutionizing payments and being used as currency and, you know, staying true to that vision of Satoshi Nakamoto, aka Craig Wright, you should absolutely, not Craig Wright, we're totally joking. You should absolutely believe in a company like UTrust because this is bringing real world application. Like you want real world application. I know there's tons of companies being launched right now because we're in a bull run. Every day there's a new token. This is something real. That I think you can get behind. And I think that, you know, if you're not in the US, I mean, you can use today. If you have a small business, if you're just an individual, you want to start
small,
actually.
Big, any business,
yeah.
You can integrate
accepting, spending, sending, receiving, using crypto. So check out Nuno on Twitter. Check out UTrust. If you have any questions, you know, hit him up on Twitter. He'll respond. I think they have a Telegram as well. They have a great website.
Yeah. We are very active here. If anybody has questions.
Yeah. And if you want to work in the space, they're hiring. You know, I sent a post up for developers. I'm looking to get a website built, right? And I got hundreds of applications. Like, guys, you want to work in the space, companies like UTrust are hiring. So, Nuno, it's been great chatting to you, man. This was a lot of fun. Really appreciate the time. And this has been another episode of Explain to Main. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Really appreciate you guys sticking around. For those of you that did to watch that, I have a lot of fun doing these Explain to Mains, and there's going to be a lot more coming. So. Stay tuned. I've already got my next guest lined up for next week, so I'm super stoked about that. For those of you that are still hanging out, I do know that there's a lot of altcoins that you guys mentioned in the chat that you wanted me to cover. I didn't have a chance to cover. Let me know. You know, send me some tweets about some shit you want to see. Go in my Discord, and I will do an altcoin video tomorrow and get caught up on some of those because there's lots of shit happening. So let's see if we can make some fucking money. So hope you guys enjoyed. This is obviously going to stay up on YouTube. You can always rewatch it. I really appreciate you guys all tuning in. I love making these YouTube videos. It is super fun for me. So I hope you guys all enjoyed as much as I do. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.